Hey Dinesh, so this is what I'm using in place of working with you today, which is Thursday, and we can just see how this goes and you can give me feedback on how it went for you. So if we were actually meeting today, I would start with a couple more sine problems and have you try them and see how it goes. So I'm going to write them down and I want you to copy these down, try them, pause the video, and then come back and see if you got them right. So I'm going to give you a couple here. The first one I want you to try is y equals -4 sine x plus pi minus 2. Go ahead and take that, pause the video, and then come back and see if you got it right. I'm going to start doing it now, and then I'll put another one up. So we'll just go one by one, just to make sure you're feeling pretty comfortable. I know last time you were getting better and better at it, but now I want to see like how, where are you at in your comfort level with this stuff. Okay, so there's the first one. So pause it, come back, here I go. So if I'm doing this problem, I might be writing down what the period is, what the amplitude is, the shifts are, and things like that. So I know that the period is still 2 pi because there's no coefficient in front of the x. I know that the amplitude is 4. I know that I have a vertical shift down 2, and I know I have a horizontal shift left to the left pi. So, whoops, sorry, I didn't realize it was a little bit out of the sight. Put my camera up a little bit. So let's see if I can put all of that together. So when I graph these, the first thing I'm going to deal with is my horizontal shift. That's the most difficult or whatever to get. So I know I'm going to be shifting to the left pi. So my end point is going to be -pi, or my beginning point is going to be -pi instead of 0. So again, I'm taking that original point of 0 and I'm backing myself up pi. So 0 minus pi is -pi. And then to figure out where I should end, I want to see, well, what's my period? My period is 2 pi. So I want to take the beginning of this and add 2 pi to it to get the end of one full wave. So -pi plus 2 pi is 1 pi. That's where I'm going to end. And I'm going to do 2 periods worth. Let's get 2 of them. So I'm going to add on another 2 pi to show me where I'm going to end. In between all of these, I need the halfway marks. So it's easy because I'm not dealing with fractions. Halfway between -pi and pi. If you want to use my system, I mean, we know it's going to be 0, but my system again would be take -pi plus pi and divide by 2. Well, that would be 0 divided by 2, which is just 0. So I'm going to have the in-between mark at 0, and then I'm going to have in between here and here, which would be -pi over 2, in between pi over 2. I'll go now halfway between pi and 3 pi is going to be 2 pi. Halfway between pi and 2 pi is 3 pi over 2, and 5 pi over 2. Again, I'm just taking those endpoints and dividing them by 2. So just for example, if I'm getting halfway in between 2 pi and 3 pi, I'm just going 2 pi plus 3 pi divided by 2. And reduce the fraction as much as I can. So I've got that. Now I've got, so I can kind of figure out, okay, what have I taken care of? I've taken care of the horizontal shift to the left. Now I know I have to shift down 2. So I have this imaginary line down 2. My y-axis, I'm counting by 1s. So down 2, I might want to draw just a really faint dotted line to let myself know that's what I'm graphing sine around. All right, taking care of the vertical shift down 2, the period, now the amplitude. So sine always starts on the axis or on this new axis. So sine's going to start on the axis at my starting spot. I'm going to go above to the axis, below to the axis, and keep going, except that the front term is negative. So I'm actually, instead of going up 4, I'm going to go down 4. So from here, 1, 2, 3, whoops. So I'm going to go down 4 spaces, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, up 4 again, and back to the new axis. Down 4 to the axis, up 4 to the axis. Put that all together. And there's 2 periods of sine. All right, let's try another one. So that one we just did is about as complicated as it can get, but let's throw another one on here. Let's go y equals, so this is something we haven't done before, 2 sine of 2x minus pi. We haven't done one. We've done one with a coefficient in front of x, but if we're going to look at this, that 2 has to be separated from the x minus pi. That 2 has to be brought out. So I really need to think about this as 2 sine of 2 times x minus what? What should that become? I need to factor a 2 out of 2x minus pi. So I don't know if you and I have ever discussed that or how I think about it. When I have to factor a constant out, but this has no 2 in it. I think about this as having a 2 over 2 as a coefficient. So that way when I bring this 2 out, so these 2's are coming out, I'm left with a 1/2. I'm left with a pi over 2. So this is how you need to think about this function before you start graphing it. Now you can graph it. So I'm going to have the period. We find by taking 2 pi and dividing it by the coefficient. So my period is pi. And now I can see what that horizontal shift is. I have a horizontal shift to the right, pi over 2. And I also have an amplitude of 2. So those are the things that are going on. So again, you might want to pause it and come back. So I'm going to always deal with that horizontal shift first. Horizontal shift to the right, pi over 2. So I'm starting at pi over 2. And where does one period end? Since the period is pi, I'm going to be taking pi over 2 and adding pi. So pi over 2 plus 2 pi over 2 is 3 pi over 2. That's where this ends. That's where one period is going to end, one full up and down and back. Let's get one more period. So let's add on another pi. And I'm going to end that one at 5 pi over 2. So there's 2 periods worth of endpoints. Whoops. And now I need to get what comes in the middle. So if I'm going to find out what comes halfway between pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2, remember I'm adding these up. So 1/2 pi plus 3/2 pi is 4/2 pi, which is 2 pi divided by 2, all divided by 2. So the halfway point is pi. And then what's halfway between pi over 2 and pi? You can go do this yourself. This is going to be 3 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4. And I can kind of keep going with the pattern. Whoops, why did I write 6? 5 pi over 4. Or you can do, okay, halfway in between 3 pi over 4 and 5 pi, halfway in between 3 pi over 2 and 5 pi over 2. So that's going to be 8 pi over 2, 4 pi. So this is going to be 2 pi. It's going to be 7/4 pi and 9/4 pi. Running out of room. Okay, so I'm not shifted up or down at all, and now I just have an amplitude. So sine starts on the axis. My coefficient in front of sine is positive, so I'm going to be starting by going up to the axis, down to the axis, up to the axis, down to the axis. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to write down 3 of them now, and then I'm going to pause the video, and I want you to go try those 3 and then come back and just check your answers. Sorry for the shaking. So let's do 1. All right, try those 3. I'm going to pause this and come back with the solutions.